The film version of The Who's 1975 rock opera Tommy had a variety of stars. Eric Clapton as the preacher, Tina Turner as the acid queen, film legends Anne Margaret and Oliver Reed as Tommy's parents, rocker and Jesus Christ superstar actor Paul Nicholas as Cousin Kevin, and Jack Nicholson as Tommy's doctor. The same year he did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And of course, Elton John as the Pinball Wizard. All of the guest stars performed songs in the film, but Elton John's performance of Pinball Wizard was a standout hit, and the only Who cover to ever break the top 10. And yet, Elton John was the one person who hesitated to join the cast. So why would Elton John hesitate to join such a stellar cast? And how did the film's director, Robert Stigwood, and The Who finally convince him to join? This is the story of Elton John, Tommy, and the giant Dr. Martens boots. I've been very successful writing songs and soundtracks for films, but I've never been very comfortable with seeing myself on the big screen. And Elton may have a point, his acting career has never been a resounding success. Amazingly, the director, Hal Ashby, offered me the male lead in Harold and Maude in 1971, but I turned it down. I loved the script, but it seemed like the wrong thing to do at the time. I've played myself in a couple of films, none of them exactly Oscar winners, Spice World, and a Disney thing called The Country Bears. I suppose my one famous film role was in Tommy, although it didn't really involve acting, just trying not to fall over while wearing a pair of 4.5-foot tall Doc Martens. Elton's friend Rod Stewart was also offered the role of Pinball Wizard, and Elton John urged him to also decline, saying, "I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole, dear." But when Pete Townsend later called Elton John directly on the phone and asked him to do it, and implored him to join the cast of Tommy, Elton caved and accepted. And Rod Stewart was furious. "You bitch, you did that on purpose." I've already spent a significant portion of my life deliberately trying to annoy Rod Stewart, and that's very much the nature of our friendship. But that time, it was completely accidental. Another one who was also considered seriously for the role was English singer and actor David Essex, who had recorded his own version of Pinball Wizard at his home studio. But Tommy producer and scriptwriter Robert Stigwood was determined to get Elton John, and he held out. When Elton finally agreed to play the role, he did so on one condition. He wanted to keep those giant oversized Doc Marten boots from his costume. The giant Docs have platform support above and metal calipers and leather straps for attaching to the legs. He actually put his feet in real Doc Martens, you can see there. The boots themselves are basically stilts. They stand 4 feet 6.5 inches high. They're modeled after cherry red Docs. The giant boots were made of molded fiberglass by English chemical firm Scott Bader. Then the boots themselves were constructed by the props department at Columbia Pictures. In 1988, these boots, plus hundreds of pairs of fab glasses and other personal items of Elton's memorabilia collection, were auctioned off at Sotheby's. Boot and shoemaker Stephen Griggs won the boots for $20,200. Griggs' company is notably maker of Dr. Martens boots. Elton's boots are currently on permanent display at Northampton Museum and Art Gallery in the shoe collection. You can see them in person there. For the Pinball Wizard scene, Elton was having trouble balancing on those massive Docs while performing. Elton John suggested he would feel more comfortable with a keyboard in front of him to take his mind off balancing on the giant boots. And so in an inspired moment, a crew member was dispatched to obtain a keyboard from a local shop. They returned with a small Bontempi type keyboard which was stripped down and added as the perfect detail to Elton's pinball machine. The Pinball Wizard sequence was the only song in the movie that was performed live in front of an audience. The Who really did play in front of the crowd, and when the fans rushed the stage at the end of the sequence, that wasn't scripted, it was impromptu. The fans really were driven wild by The Who's live performance, particularly when Pete Townsend started to smash his guitar. However, the actual soundtrack recording of Pinball Wizard features not The Who, but Elton John's band. Elton's version of Pinball Wizard was a hit single. It's the only cover of a Who song to break the top 10. Hey, if you dug that one, click like and subscribe and check out this video, which has been scientifically determined to appeal to you by YouTube's team of friendly robots.